All right, welcome everyone to Expedition to Soul Day 1. Thank you so much for joining us for this. It is one of my most favorite things to do. If you are new here, thank you for joining us. We have had a few thousand new people join us for this round of Expedition to Soul. This is our third time doing it. And yeah, it's really fun every time. And I love to watch what everybody does and how you incorporate the tasks and the things that I invite you to do into your own life. So before we begin, or as we begin here, I'm Sarah. I'm the head magic maker, I call myself, at the Sisters Enchanted, one of the founders. We started the Sisters Enchanted as it is now online in 2016 and have had tens of thousands of people come through our online community and free classes. We have like about 2,000 students in our programs that we offer. And yeah, it's really good stuff. We host a couple of live events every year. And it's really our goal to help people around the world conjure more joy, intuition, and everyday enchantment in their lives. And we love to say that we help everyday people make everyday magic, because we are everyday people with things that happen in our lives, just like you. I've got two little kids that really wear me out. And, you know, we're right there with you, trying to squeeze the enchantment in amongst all of the muggle stuff that we all have to deal with, all of the everyday adulting, human-y sort of stuff. So welcome in. Our co-founder, Anna, my real life sister, she will be with us on day 5, I think, as we dive into moon signs. She's an astrologer, one of our astrologers here at the Sisters Enchanted. We have 2 of them. She's one of them. And you will meet Anna, I'm sure, in the groups or in the group, in any threads that you participate in. And if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see Anna quite often over there on Instagram as well, in the stories and sharing things. So you'll see Anna along the way. And if you have any tech problems or you can't find something, you can always email us, reply to any emails, and you will get Anna at those as well. Anna will respond to those. And Anna is in our Facebook comments too. She's saying, I'm here in the comments too. So that's us at the Sisters Enchanted. We are open and affirming to all different kinds of people. So we always, our one thing that we kind of stand on is to lead with kindness. We know how this internet world can be, and tone is always hard to interpret, and we're all living different life experiences. So that's the one kind of common community rule we have, is to lead with kindness, and we always try to do that ourselves as well. So Crystal's saying, let's quest away. Crystal's one of our longtime community members, and yes, Crystal, let's quest away. So Expedition to Soul, if you checked out the live stream I did introducing the field guide, that you can find the replay on the class link page, which I sent out early hours of this morning. You can always watch that if you're unsure about the field guide or anything in there. You can dig into that as you go along. There are no set rules for anything that we do here, or no deadlines or timelines around like, oh, I didn't do it on day 1, so I can't do it at all. No, just do it when you get to it. It really is more of a container for you to explore. So even if all you do over these 7 days is read through the things and listen to the videos and kind of get it in your brain that you're starting to maybe think about these things or be aware of them, that is totally fine. If you aren't able to set aside the time to do all of the activities, I would love if you could. If you're not able to, just kind of being aware of them and thinking about when you can integrate them into your life is going to be very helpful. I know that it's the busy holiday season, so I totally get that. So yeah, just listening and participating in whatever way works for you is going to be one step farther than you were just yesterday, you know, or the day before or whatever. So you can find your field guide in your welcome email. And each day over the 7 days, you'll have your new video release on the class page. And on that class page, we'll also upload all the replay videos. So for those of you particularly who don't use Facebook, and I will say that I think 3/4 of the people who register for this class don't use Facebook actively. So all of you watching this on the replay, you can find everything on the class page. And if you're an Instagram user, you can participate in any threads over on Instagram as well. You certainly don't have to join Facebook to participate in this Expedition to Soul program. All right, so day one, I have the printable right here for you. Day one is really about this idea of sensation building. So when we look at our 7-day expedition to Soul, we look at it as kind of this hero's journey, this quest story. I have a background as an English teacher. That's what I went to school for. I was an English major in school. So I love to look at the hero's journey and see how we're all doing that in our everyday life. And if you think about any kind of quest movie you've ever watched, think, I don't know, The Hobbit, or I use this example a lot, The Magicians. If you've read that book or watched that show that's out now, there's this idea that like, oh no, we're going to have to go on a quest and we're unsure about it. And we can see that in our own lives when we like get that little feeling that something might happen, right? That like, oh no, I might have to talk to my boss about this. Oh no, I might have to talk to the kid's teacher about this. Oh no, we can feel the tension building. We're not sure yet if we're going to dive in or if we're going to stand up or if we're going to go back. We're not really sure. And that's where we are on day one. I see Nicola is an English professor and speaking your language, amazing. My English professor is an undergrad. That's what inspired me to go to school to be an English teacher, which I'm not now. But anyway, I did go to school for it. So we're at that part, right, where we're knowing that there's something big for us. And we might feel this in different ways. Maybe you're just feeling like, I'm kind of feeling like stagnant in life right now. Maybe you're just feeling fine with life. Maybe you're like, things are great. I just want to know how else there is more, like what other greatness there is for me, right? But we all feel often like something that's right there. We're just not sure what it is. And that's us at the day one of our quest. We're in this uncertain place, like, oh goodness, am I going to have to go into the battle, or am I gonna stay where I am and let someone else do it? And nobody else can do this work for our life, right? We have to do it. And that's certainly where we are on day one. So on day one here, what I suggested that you do is sort of call your energy back into yourself. And you can watch my short video on this too, which might help explain it in a more succinct way over on that class page that I emailed out. But really, it's about reclaiming your energy. And this is an exercise that I encourage people to do as often as they need to, particularly those of us who interact with a lot of people. So for people that, Nicola, as an English professor, you're interacting with a lot of people. Anybody who's out at work every day and sees people, is forward facing. People that have to do customer service, emails, really anybody in general. If you're out at a store or at a stoplight, I mean, we're absorbing kind of all of this energy of all the stuff that's happening around us. And think of those moments where you're like, oh, I'm in such a good mood today. And then one little thing happens and you're like, that one thing, it just set me in a tailspin. And that's this other energy that we're bringing into ourselves, and we're allowing it to kind of transform the experience that we're having. And it's really hard not to do that, because at the end of the day, we are people living in a people-facing world, and we have these emotional experiences that we're meant to have and should have, and it's totally appropriate to have. But too much of it, and we kind of lose ourselves in it. We begin to question our decisions. We allow other people's choices to impact us and our emotions and how we're feeling. So this idea of reclaiming your energy, calling your energy back into you, your own self, can be really helpful to separate somebody else's stuff from your stuff, and remember what it is that you're trying to do with your life, your energy, your body, your spirit, and move forward with that. So that these exercises, there are a couple here that I give you examples of in your printable, so you can print that out and look at it. But you can do these really super quick. Doesn't have to be a crazy thing. I know that I always, whenever anyone tells me like, sit down and meditate, I'm like, that's amazing. Let me see where I can fit that in my busy calendar. But you can do these sometimes in just 10 seconds by taking a deep breath and seeing your energy move back in. I love to actually use my hands, and it just kind of helps me focus and actually put my hands around me and kind of push everything back in. And if I'm feeling like somebody else's stuff is really getting to me, the opposite, pushing that out first and away, clearing that space out, and then kind of hugging my own energy back into myself. So this act of just taking a deep breath and saying, that is yours, this is mine, and reclaiming your energy focusing on what your actual experience is rather than somebody else's experience and what they're bringing to it is really important. And what this has to do with our quest is that it allows us to clear our mind and focus on what it is that we want. So over the 7 days, I've said this before and I'll keep saying it, it's really about what you need at this time. I am not here to direct you to what your soul's purpose should be. I'm here to give you the container and the tools and some things to try to find what is my message on this day, right? Like, what do I need to receive over these 7 days? But particularly this time of year when we are trying to people please, we are gift buying, people are angry in stores and there's traffic. It can be really hard to see through that clutter and that fog of the world around you. So as we're presented with this quest and we have this like, do I need to go on this quest? Do I have to go find this key? Do I have to go through this battle? Do I need to go rescue someone? And, you know, in this case, we're rescuing our own selves. Do I have to do this? It can be really hard to see where all this other stuff ends and where we begin and what we actually need. So before we make any decisions on our quest and we run out empty-handed without all the tools that we need and no map, no direction, and find ourselves lost in a dark forest, we want to take a minute and just reclaim our energy and just ask, how am I feeling right now? What is actually mine? And what is somebody else's, or what of somebody else's am I absorbing into myself, and how can I separate the two so I can see through the fog? So yeah, this is just a simple exercise in finding you and what your energy is before moving through the quest. So over these 7 days, we will go on this journey, right? And day one, we are inviting in this wonder, this sense of possibility, maybe a little bit scary because we don't know what's on the other side. Often when we do internal work like this, a lot of shadow stuff might come up, a lot of having to look ourselves in the mirror and face our own selves and say, oh goodness, this is how I'm contributing to this, can happen. And that can be confronting. It can be a little scary. It can be unpleasant, all of these things, but clearing out other people's stuff so we can actually hear what's happening with us is really, really powerful. So your exercise today is to simply reclaim your own energy, right? Bring it into yourself, feel it in, maybe push out anything that's not yours, and get into the practice over the next few days of doing this when you need to. So if you find yourself wanting to react to somebody suddenly, wanting to open your mouth and say something when someone's talking to you and maybe they didn't ask for advice, or you find yourself about to yell at your kid or honking your horn in traffic or whatever it is, just take that second and say, that is theirs, this is mine. And like, how am I actually receiving this and interpreting it and acting on it right now? And that's going to help us get really clear on the 6 following days after this. We're going to do some really cool stuff over the next 6 days, including looking at our moon signs, creating a talisman. Often in quests, we'll see this kind of act where you're like claiming, I'm going on the journey, who's with me, and getting our allies to go with us. And we're gonna go through all of that over these next few days, and it's going to be really fun. Now, this time in particular, many of you probably have heard, and I mentioned it in the live stream I did the other day, that we had our Gemini full moon yesterday, the last full moon of this year, of this decade, and that's a super cool thing, right? And it's really fun the way that this timing lined up, because when we look at lunar cycles, the first 2 weeks of a lunar cycle is when the moon is growing, and we're bringing things in, we are growing ideas, we're taking action. And the last 2 weeks of a lunar cycle is when the moon is shrinking back again and it's disappearing from our sky. And this is a time that we release, we reflect, we rest up for the next lunar cycle. And it's very timely that it pretty much lands right at the last 2 weeks, essentially, a little more of the year. We are in this waning moon period and really reflecting and releasing, and it's so perfect that that's at the end of the decade and at the end of a year. So during this time, we're really, with this expedition to soul, this quest that we're on, this is a great time for this journey, so we can kind of clear out things that aren't serving us, move forward with our journey for next year, lay the groundwork for the next 10 years to come. Isn't that crazy to think? Like, think back 10 years ago. Could you imagine that you are where you are now? And can you even begin to imagine where you'll be 10 years from now? This is a perfect time to kind of consider those things. And on this quest, think about how you're going to get there, what that might look like, and what you want to open yourself up to. Following our 7 days, we're going to have 2 extra classes also around the moon. We're going to talk about bringing lunar practices into your home and talking about the moon throughout history. It's one of those topics that people in the spiritual world, the witchy world, love to talk about the moon, and we'll dispel some myths in our lunar class, and it's really good stuff. And like I said, we'll dive into your moon sign and moon signs on, I think it's day 5 of our quest as well. So calling in your energy is the first thing that I want you to do during this experience. Now you do have some prompts here for you to fill out as well if you'd like to. I love a good prompt. So some notes on your exercise, on your clearing energy, your reclaiming your energy. And then asking yourself after that, once you've really focused on you, what your quest is really about. What are you seeking? You know, what do you anticipate this is about for you? And it's completely okay if at the end it's something totally different, or if you have no idea, that's okay too. Often with these quest stories, people really have no idea what they're getting into, right? They just know that there's something on the other end, they need to go get it, and everything else along the way is a giant surprise, just like this will be for you. There are some other things that I want you to consider today on day 1. The first is this idea of kind of a mini pilgrimage, we'll call it. And I shared on my last live stream, and again, you can find the replay for that right on the class site, the link to all the replay videos that I email out each day. It's right there at the bottom, is this idea of a pilgrimage. And that's kind of what inspired Expedition to Soul for me, because I see all these people traveling to other countries and like for these big experiences, and most of us aren't able to just go and do that because of things in our lives that keep us tied down, or family, finances, whatever it is. Many of us aren't privileged enough to be able to just go and do these big long trips, or it's just not in the cards for us on this day. Maybe in 5 years it is. But I think that we can have many of those experiences right where we are, which again was the inspiration for Expedition to Soul. So I encourage you to, over the next 7 days, think about how you can incorporate a mini pilgrimage into your life, whether that is 1 hour by yourself in a special corner of your house where nobody's going to bother you, and you're just going to take a moment to experience how you're feeling and just really think and breathe. If you live somewhere where you're able to go outside this time of year and you can access a really cool forest or park, or if you live in the desert, like an amazing desert area, whatever that is, and be with nature and explore maybe a place that feels very ancient to you, it feels like the trees or the rocks or the earth is speaking to you, that would be fantastic. So think about if there's a place near you or even in your home where you can create some time to have this sort of experience, right? Like a little mini pilgrimage for yourself. And yeah, schedule that in if you can, and make sure it happens if you're able to. I can say I know how hard that is. As I task you with that, I know how hard it is to make space for those sorts of things. So if you can, however you can make it happen, try to make it happen. But just being able to kind of disconnect from yourself for a little bit, I think can really help you hear where you actually need to be going, what's working in your life, and what's not working the best it can be for you. The other thing that's on your task for day 1 is to look back at your field guide. And if you did any of the map exercises, just reflect on those and see if there's one you really want to work with this week. And I did give you a little fill-in thing here that you totally don't have to use. But if there's anything that you want to kind of keep track of over the 7 days and see how your journey expands, you can certainly use this for that. So yeah, day 1, reclaim your energy, just call in what's yours, expel what's not yours, and really let that feeling build that something great is going to happen over the next 7 days. You might not know what that is, but feel into it, know that it's going to be amazing. And and just allow that to boil and bubble up inside you and burst out over the next 7 days. So let's see here. I'm going to catch up on some comments because I've just been trying to stay focused. Those of you who've been around for a while know I usually bump back and forth, but I've been trying to keep my train of thought these days. And then come back. So let's see. The teachers in the crowd are saying kids are crazy right now. I believe that. We have one person here who plans on taking a shower with quartz around the tub using orange ginger aromatherapy. Let's see here, just a lot of hellos. We should do this as part of the Berkshires trip. Yeah, we have 2 live events in 2020. I'll probably announce all those details in January out to the public. But yeah, one is going to be in the mountains, the woods, trees of Massachusetts during peak leaf peeping season. Let's see here. A little cold outside. Yeah, it's cold out here, cold and rainy. Bert says, been told to clear clutter, real clutter, mental clutter. You know, I think that clearing real clutter helps to make space to clear mental clutter. That said, it's a lot of our mental clutter that makes it impossible for us to clear physical clutter, right? Because we're like attached to things. We feel guilty about getting rid of stuff that we bought and never used. It seems overwhelming. So this clutter thing with energy is really deep because our clutter seriously impacts our energy. It impacts the energy of our homes where we spend most of our time. And the physical clutter, it gets in the way of our mental clarity, like I said, but it's that mental piece too, when we're really have lots of mental clutter and emotional clutter around our stuff that makes it hard to get rid of it. So it's very twofold and can be tricky to see like what you need to deal with first in terms of the clutter piece. So starting small in one area, but with whatever it is, whether it's mental or real physical clutter, start small. Let's see here. Are those hula hoops? No, these are not hula hoops. They're just circles. I do love me a good hula hoop though. We actually have a friend of ours who I think is going to teach a hula hooping class like to our online community. Crazy, right? Let's see here. Yes, clearing mental and literal clutter. That really helps with reclaiming your energy too. In your home, if you're feeling like your home is just a hotbed of chaos for you, and I experience this too, being able to separate what is the other stuff and what is yours is really, really, really useful and important. Let's see here. Kat says, the calling visualization felt like a celebration. Welcome home feel. Ignited some strong feelings of love for self. I love that. Yes, Kalina, this is the same field guide, so you're good to go. Yes, the clutter cycle for sure. Let's see here. Guilt thing about clutter. Yes, I just experienced this. I have a small house and just had to offload a bunch of stuff, and I felt so guilty getting rid of things that were, you know, hardly used or never used, but it just had to, yes, had to go. Let's see here. Yes, hula hooping. Yes, we love hula. Hannah and I weirdly love to hula hoop. Bridget, what if you don't have cards? That's totally cool. If you do not have to have cards, there's one day where we do a tarot card exercise, and you can either just use them as journaling prompts, or you can use an app on your phone. You can write your own affirmation cards and use those. You do not have to have cards for this exercise here. Let's see. All right. I'm going to check on our Zoom comments up here. Stephanie says, this is my third quest. I learn something new each time, feeling more clarity during this life transition, and this will help me focus on new goals. Yes, Stephanie is one of our longtime community members as well, and is doing some really cool stuff. I got to say, cool stuff coming from Stephanie. Caroline, wondering, Caroline has breast cancer and how to take my energy when I have an intruder in my body. They took the tumors out in the process of radiation and stuff. Will I be able to take back my energy? So Caroline, first, let me just send you a big heartfelt hug through the internet if I can. And I will say that, you know, not having personally experienced that battle myself, that can be, I think, that is certainly a multi-layered thing going on there, because there's so much happening where we, in those situations, I can imagine, with this like this stuff that's in your body, and then this other like medicine that's supposed to be helping but does so much to your body as well, like the physical side effects of that. You know, I would say, Caroline, that you can certainly work with your own energy. I think that whatever little step helps you to feel at peace with this intruder in your body, as you called it first, is going to be the most helpful. So whether for you, that might not be like fully sitting there and saying, this is my energy, this is this other energy. Maybe it's you working on one part of your body. Maybe it's you working on just kind of the space around you. And as you're feeling up to it and you're feeling ready, then moving in through that more. Yeah, you know, like I said, as a person not having experienced that, I can't speak directly to it. I can only imagine that there are so many layers to that energetic piece. And I would definitely say that there is no rush or pressure to like say, you know, this is all mine. If that feels though to you like that's going to be an amazing exercise to do, and say, you know what, this isn't me, this isn't me, this is me, this is me, then by all means do that. But I think too that just having grace, you know, for yourself, and whatever little bit feels good, do that. And I think that ultimately, I would say that you definitely have the opportunity to take back your energy in whatever way that looks like is right for you right now. You know, maybe that's just of your mind. Maybe that's of something like your feet that keep you on the ground and steady you here on this earth. Maybe that's what you want to bring your energy back to. So kind of think like what feels easy for you right now, what feels doable, and maybe start there. Let's see here. So Guy says, I'm new. Can you explain what the field guide is? It was in your welcome email when you signed up. If you didn't get the welcome email, check your spam folder for that for sure. And if you don't see it, you can reply to any of our emails and Anna will get it sent your way. And you can watch the video, the replay video that's on the class link page that I sent out to you. You'll find that at the bottom and I talk through it there. So Caroline, you're getting lots of hugs over here on our Facebook comments as well. Let's see here. Just checking in on these comments. Thank you guys for the kind words and lots of hugs for Caroline. And yes, lots of hugs for you, Caroline. You know, just I think for anybody, whether it's physical trauma, illness, emotional stuff, I think that sometimes doing the work of shadow work, of energy work, can feel all consuming because we experience these emotions from guilt to like, you know, questioning, to anger, to sadness, to disappointment, to loss, to hope. And then like through this cycle of emotion, and we can lean up to this in many areas of our life from many things that we experience. And, you know, I know that, like I said, I have not had that direct experience. I know this happens to me from my first kid's childbirth, had lots of craziness. And I routinely question, you know, like what, how, why, how, what, and it's like coming up against that and doing energy work around it can be very draining because I just go through this spiral of stuff. So with anybody, whether it's illness, any sort of thing that really haunts your thoughts, I think that being gentle with yourself and just knowing your limit and knowing when you can do a little bit and then step away from it, do a little bit and step away from it. I think that's really what it's all about. I don't think that there's any rush ever to run into anything and say like, I am just going to heal this part of me and I'm going to turn it all around. And I think that we actually set ourselves up for failure a lot of times when we do that, because we, you know, there's this big expectation then that today is the day that I commit to this. And then as soon as we have that emotional reaction, we let our energy go, we don't feel well again. this thing that we said we won't let bother us bothers us again, then we're disappointed in ourselves and we feel like we failed ourselves. So no matter what you're doing in any kind of energy work, any kind of spiritual work, any kind of magical, manifesting, witchy stuff, I think it's always important to remember that you are human, meant to have a human experience. And your human experience is often, there's so much hardness that comes with being a human. And doing what you can do today and having grace for yourself, I think, is always of utmost importance. And don't ever let anybody tell you that, you're not doing it right because you had a human moment the next day or something. Like that would be crazy. You just do what you can do. Let's see here. Yep, all the replays will be right there on the class page. And yeah, you can still sign up for it. There's to get the emails. The link is in the Facebook group a few times, and we can always get it to you too if you tag us in a post. Yeah, you can totally sign up. And Brenda says, yes, I fight that all the time. Couldn't have said it better. Yeah, I think that expectation is the hardest thing to release in life, of other people and of ourselves, and is quite often the most important thing to release, but it's the hardest thing. And I know that I struggle with that expectation on myself, expectation of others. And yeah, it's all part of that experience, though, all part of why we're here. So before we go, head off for the day, and you guys can go work on your exercises for this day, I am going to pull us a card to set an intention for our 7 days together. Let's see. What are we gonna get? The sun. How nice is that? Those of you in our community yesterday in our Enchanted Journey program, you guys saw me pulling cards and, for our full moon, and I was like, oh no, what if we get a Debbie Downer? No, the sun. I think there's so much promise for us, and so much promise ahead, and we can manifest anything into being if only we can figure out what it is that aligns with who we really are, what we really desire in this lifetime. That's the important part, is figuring out who we actually are, what we actually want, right? So I'm going to put this, I don't know where you guys can see it. Maybe back there you can see it a little bit. Oh, knocking stuff over. So that'll be there with us for the 7 days. Let me just take a peek at my calendar, and we will see when I will see you guys again. I'll probably pop in and say hi on Sunday for a minute. And our next official scheduled call is on Monday. We will be hearing from my friend and one of our magical mentors, Emily, is going to come talk to us a little bit. And yeah, so Sunday for sure, though, I will definitely pop in and say hi. I don't see it on my schedule at this moment, but I'll come in and say hi on Sunday. Maybe I'll schedule in a time and email that out. So those of you on Instagram and all of our non-Facebook friends, which is most of you these days, it seems, I will send out a link for that if you want to join live. And tomorrow, the 14th, keep your eyes peeled on your email and on social media. Tomorrow is my birthday, and I plan to celebrate with Expedition to Soul with some giveaways and cool stuff throughout the day tomorrow. So I have some things in mind that you'll want to keep your eyes out, because some of them will probably be like a first come, first serve. So, because I wish I could give thousands and thousands of people things, but I'm not Oprah. So, I'm just Sarah, Sisters Enchanted. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled tomorrow for some goodness coming your way, both on Instagram, Facebook, and in your email too, for our class email that goes out tomorrow. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me for our kickoff call for Expedition to Soul. Always reply to any emails. If you're having tech trouble, you can feel free to tag us, and keep your eyes peeled in both the Facebook group and on Instagram. We're going to put up a day 1 thread where you can share your visualization experience. And another thing we love to do at the end of the 7 days is go back through each thread and pick a random person from each thread to get a little bit of Sisters Enchanted swag in the mail for participating. So you'll want to look out for those on both in our group and on Instagram if you're not on Facebook. And we will, participate in those so we can choose someone at the end to get some cool stuff. All right, you guys, onward with your quest. The sun has our back, even though it's not shining here in the sky today. Thank you all for being here. I'm Sarah, the Sisters Enchanted, for all of the new folks who might have joined later on. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And I hope you guys have a great, great week ahead during this waning moon. And I can't wait to keep questing with you. And I will certainly see you guys on Sunday for sure. All right, have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.